can probably see me. I'm gonna try something different. So hopefully you can hear me. And hopefully this will be cool. So I do tarot, oracle cards, and I have for quite a while now. And I brought my cards, and I think I might go sit down and shuffle. But another part of that I've learned about myself is that I can like channel stuff too. Like I don't necessarily need the cards. And I found a perfectly good spot that, while yes happens to be surrounded by spiders, one of my biggest fears, it's perfect. Perfect tripod. So I'm gonna tune in and see what we get. And if you're here, maybe you'll get something from this. Already, I've been getting the vibe that whoever's watching this is very distracted by their outside. And whoever is watching this possibly also shares my fear of the outside, whether it be agoraphobia or just like bugs. That's my thing personally. Maybe you're afraid of like outside perspectives. Could be afraid of people, the agoraphobia. I'm being told to challenge yourself today. Try going outside regardless. Maybe talk to a stranger that you weren't expecting to talk to. It's like there's this path that you want to take, but you might see people that you don't want to see. There's an airplane going by. Every time that I think of airplanes, I think of this time when I was a scare actor at a theme park, and everybody in my section, when an airplane would go by, they would scream dragon at the air. My guess is that it was because we were vampires who weren't really supposed to know what airplanes were, because, you know, vampires are supposed to be old. Not according to Twilight, but I digress. And I think of the idea of how flying was once thought to be fucking impossible, you know, like before the whole plane was built, kind of a thing. And through time and dedication, it's become as easy as affording a plane ticket. And the experience itself is incredibly comfortable. I mean, if you disregard the whole anatomy not letting the pressure change, besides that, because I want to acknowledge that's there, you know. I don't think humans were destined to be up in the air that high, but fucking we made it happen. For better, for worse. Maybe that's something that you're going through right now. Wanting to go outside. Wanting to make something happen. Whether or not you think that it's supposed to happen. But you're scared. And while I don't know you personally, the whole idea, I think, of YouTube that I love, and this will get on point, I swear, is that you're here because you liked the thumbnail or you liked the video vibe. So there's something to this video that connects to you. And with YouTube, there are millions of billions of people doing just that. There was a stat that I don't remember the exact number, but back in my very much obsessed with YouTube days, when Susan was CEO, I miss her, there was like 100,000 videos uploaded every second or something like that. And you're here. Out of every billions of videos that you could be watching. So I want to ask you, if you're here, probably relating to my vibe. So whether or not you think that I'm projecting, because I think that part of channeling is channeling yourself and others' relatability to that, you know? I think of how tarot decks are normally like anywhere from 50 to 70 cards. And if you're talking about traditional tarot decks, it's the same situations, same cards, at least, you know, Page of Cups, Knight of Wands, Six of Pentacles, you know, the gist. Because human life is a bunch of different cycles repeated, and sometimes you get the same one for different lives. Kind of like how if you're in the American education system, because frankly that's all I can speak on, and then you go to high school, you go to middle school, you go to elementary school, and everybody goes to those schools assuming that you're privileged enough to be able to afford so. But everybody probably has a slightly different experience in those schools, but you still went to that school, assumingly together to your fellow students. So kind of how I can be out here and talking about a path and airplanes and the idea that, I'll say agoraphobia, but if you don't identify with that term, it's basically just the fear of going outside to a more severe extent, hence the phobia. But even if it's just you were scared to talk to people outside, introverted kind of a vibe, I think that being able to relate to somebody helps you not feel so alone, which when you're scared of people, craving to not feel alone while being alone is kind of the thing that makes you comfortable, is an incredibly interesting and one might say torturous cycle that you can be in. And so if my video right here of me saying that, if you saw my last video, maybe I posted it before this, maybe I don't, I talk about how I'm scared of bugs, and I used to be scared of going outside for a very long time. But I made it a point to do so, you know, gradually over time. I'm not cold turkeying this, but, you know, little walks, more like manufactured grass that's trimmed, and then gradually out here. In the wild, quote unquote. I'm still in a park. We're working on it. But if you're here, especially if you're still here, one can only hope that you can feel motivated by this and to get out of your emotional cage as well. Go on that path that is scary yet beautiful. Scary because it's out of your comfort zone, if we're going with the example that I was talking about, you know, being alone. But beautiful because then you don't feel so alone. The idea of like connecting with others, especially on a like past surface level, how are you, weather's good kind of a vibe. As a kid, I used to say that I was obsessed with deep conversations. I think in reality, I just really liked connecting with people. And like having those conversations was a way of setting a scene to be able to be like conversationally intimate with the person, emotionally. As an adult, I've realized that fear is just the human mind constricting itself. And while sometimes that could be good, like if you're literally being chased down by a murderer, yeah, maybe you should be scared, maybe run. But sometimes you're just outside in the forest on a sunny day, and there might be some kids screaming, and you might be, you know, kind of worried that they're staring at you. But the worry behind that isn't necessarily the same worry as being chased by a murderer, you know? Like, the body might confuse it for the same sense because the body understands adrenaline. And so the body, when it senses adrenaline, thinks that it's important. Not all the time. Not necessarily. Because anxiety is a thing. Fear is a thing. And sometimes you think something is scary and it's not going to be as scary. But in order to find that out, you got to break that comfort zone, comfort cycle, hence the path. At the end of the video, I'll show you, if not including clips in the video itself, that there's a path I'm literally staring at that goes, from my point of view right now, nowhere, but because I just came down from that path, I know where it goes. I came from that angle. But the one that you're seeing, I haven't been down yet. It's like the path that you see is new, And yet there's another path that's also familiar, yet from a new perspective looks brand fucking new. One could argue that that applies to people and agoraphobia. You know, there's the path that is being alone because that feels comfortable, or there's the path of slowly getting out of your comfort zone and talking to people, going outside, hugging a tree, touching grass. And yes, those concepts are familiar, but through a new perspective of, frankly, getting down to whatever the fear is, like, it at its core, which could be, for me, in particular, perception. I talked about how I'm scared of the kids judging me, even though I don't really care. Why would I? They're children. I'm not doing anything wrong. You know? Hell, I even have... car passing by. I even have blue hair, so clearly I'm like, don't mind being a walking highlighter, very much seen. It's a big part of my personality too, but there's still that fear. Because I'm human, and of course there is. But understanding why there's fear, hence getting down to the core of it, it helps kind of work through it. You know, when I was first starting to get outside, I was really scared of bugs. Still am, honestly, especially spiders. And so I went through a very groomed and fancied bow on top kind of a park. And it helped. Just go on walks and then go back in my car and go home. Kind of a cracking the shell that needed to be shattered kind of a vibe. But if you crack it, it's easier to shatter. So, you know, tippy tap at that and get out of it. And now I'm here, to the point where there's most definitely bugs surrounding me because I'm outside in the middle of it's still a, you know, maintained nature area, but it's also very much not to progress. Another thing that I want to mention and probably end this off on is make sure you track your progress in a way that is positively reinforcing yourself, not negatively. Like, point A, track your progress. Point B, in a positive light. I don't need to be giving myself shit for the fact that I'm still scared even though I'm out here. I need to be giving myself props for the fact that I'm out here in the first place. And I'm right next to this branch. And I haven't really looked at it too much this entire time because I don't want to have to see a bug. But the progress, specifically positively reinforcing said progress, makes it feel worth it when otherwise it wouldn't. Yeah. So I pulled some cards and I would not be shocked if what I was saying earlier was right about like channeling being just kind of humans relating about human things, because I've been getting these cards a lot and this is really interesting to have it be in a reading, but also my camera's probably gonna die, so I wanted to put it out there that I think that the idea of me forgetting to charge my camera is kind of like the idea of you forgetting like who you are. Like, for me, charging my camera is something that I do like religiously. Like, I'm very much on that shit. And so forgetting that I needed to charge my camera so that way I have to adapt to the situation quickly in the moment is kind of like a challenge, right? We were talking earlier about the challenge of going outside, seeing people, interacting with people, being perceived. And a monarch butterfly just flew past. I don't know if it's going to be in the shot, but monarch butterflies are incredibly rare due to environmental hazards, unfortunately. Butterflies are also movement, though. Green are the heart chakra, so along with the Page of Cups, and while you can't see because I've got additional cards here, mainly to just kind of keep the cards from flying away, because I'm out in nature. It's kind of the idea that while you may not see that you've already done the work and that you may not feel like you've achieved getting to a point where you can receive emotional feedback or, frankly, just thought, ideas from others. But you have. You've completed the emotional track of making sure that you can handle emotions, especially your own, especially receiving emotions from others. I get the vibe that you feel like you need to go inward, whether that be the introvert vibe or the agoraphobia, whatever have you. The idea that you feel like you need to go inside, but you already have to an incredible extent, and you're not giving yourself the props for doing so. It could be that you're distracting yourself from giving yourself the props. I saw something that was shiny and it took my brain off of it for a second, but then it went away. And it's like, it's also interesting that I'm wearing my bone choker as a bracelet. Very shiny. My cat loves it because it's shiny. So the idea that you have already rebirthed yourself through solitude, through going in and relaxing into the idea that you are who you are now. You know, we've got this card. I'll put all the decks in the description if you're interested. And this card in particular, the Relax card, one of my favorites. Not my favorite in the entire deck, but it's like top 3. Very much about like, sit with yourself, read a book, enjoy a nice beverage, like sit with the moon and relax. Very be one with the moment. And we were talking about that earlier of like being in the moment, present enough to really understand it. I'm talking about that in a video I made a couple of minutes ago. I will link it in the description if not already part of this video. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit this yet. We'll find out. Point being, no. The idea that I was talking about relaxing with nature and being with yourself, being internal with yourself, this card right here, the Spirit card, is about like being with one with whatever your form or ideals of divinity are with. But also, whether or not you're religious, the idea that you can sit with yourself internally, emotionally, spiritually, right? And we've got that. And it's like, as I've naturally moved the cards, it's going to the Ten of Cups, which is like completion. Literally, completion. One of my favorite things about this deck is it makes it so fucking easy. Completion. You have already completed the hermit mode that you thought you needed to complete. You're just not giving yourself the props for achieving that. But there's action to be had here. You don't need to go in. And the action feels like it's gonna be you receiving emotions from others. We've got this Page of Cups that I hope you can see, and if not, then I apologize. It's our first time doing this with the tarot. But I want to leave with this card from one of my favorite decks that's new for me. It's called All of You is Magic by Zulfa Ishak. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but it's a beautiful deck. And I'm going to get you an advice card real quick. But while I'm doing this, I really want to stress that you need to be giving yourself more positive reinforcement when it comes to how much work you've already done in your internal. I'm there with you. I get it. I really do. I feel like I'm like high key with you right now. Like, you and I are, I understand this. But what is some advice that could help? I love these cards because they also have like little visualization exercises. Very fun, very beautiful. Ooh, okay. Also the imagery, oh, so good. Interesting. Okay, so I was pulling cards and cards came out. Like we've got a whole stack of these that are absolutely gorgeous. And then we had another stack that are these two. And yet, as I was putting the deck away, I felt drawn to the top one that didn't come out. So, interesting. This is the card. I'm just going to kind of be quiet and let you look at it for a little bit. Now, I'm going to read to you. The universe is guiding you beyond the confines of the box you are placed in, back to your authentic self, a garden blossoming without walls. Which I'm literally outside, and that's literally what I was talking about. You have to go outside to, you know, go beat the agoraphobia. Another butterfly just passed, so once again, that movement, you know. And then the ritual, the things that I love about these cards. I mean, everything about these cards. Have you seen that? Oh my god, beautiful. But still. What is one thought or expectation you've challenged lately? The more questions you ask of the world, the closer you get to your authentic self. Especially the video I just mentioned. I think I will include these two together then, because literally, that's what I was talking about. When it comes to going into your fear and questioning why you're scared of things, and that way you're able to handle them in the moment more, very much so. So I hope that this helps. Get outside your comfort zone. The universe is protecting you. You are good. You are guided. Everything's gonna be okay. Because you can always go back to yourself, your authentic self, a garden blossoming without walls. Similarly to like this. So, all in all, if you're seeing this, I hope you go down the path that feels most right for you. And if you're scared, figure out why. And if you manage to get to the point where you get some progress, give yourself some props for the progress. You deserve it. Just as I do. So I'm gonna end this video, and hopefully there's not a bug on my camera right now. But I'll take some videos and pictures to end, so if you'd like to see the scenery that I'm in currently, stay to the end. But otherwise, please check out my link tree on my YouTube description and YouTube bio to help donate money to Palestine, Sudan, Congo, Yemen, and Haiti, as well as many more. The whole point of that link tree is to help put money to where money can help people live better lives. So if you'd like to do that, make it super easy for you, go down there. Also, if you're an immigrant, particularly in the USA, I hope you're having a fan-fucking-tastic day. And I hope the sun shines on you in a beautiful way, like it's shining on me right now. I'm really glad I brought my prescription sunglasses. But seriously though, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Please stay safe. Catch you next time. Bye. A little moth flew by when I did that.